Hello, welcome to today's series for Introductions to Functions. In part 1, we're going to look at a table of functions, but first we need to understand what a function is. It says the function f is defined by the following rule: f of x equals negative 3x minus 4. Functions in linear equations are very similar. Functions have a different notation though. We talk about y, let's look at y equals x for a minute. And we're going to change it to y is actually a function of x. So y is a function of x. So that means that y equals f of x. And that's how we come up with this notation, f of x. So when we have y equals f of x, we're actually saying f of x equals x. So when we see f parentheses x, this is also pronounced f of x. And then this part over here, let's say x plus a, this is my function rule, where I plug x in, the value of x in, and I get my output. Functions rely on inputs and outputs, and f of x is the output. So x is the input, f of x is the output. So it asks us to simplify f of x defined by the following rule and complete the function table. So we're going to plug our x values in to the function rule and get the output. So this is going to look like f, let's move down a little bit, this is going to be f of negative 2 equals negative 3 times negative 2 minus 4. This f of negative 2 is just simply identifying what I've input into my function rule. So now I have negative 3 times negative 2, that equals 6 minus 4, which is 2. So f of negative 2 is 2. So my input was negative 2, my output was positive 2. Now I'm going to plug negative 1 in a similar fashion. F of negative 1 equals negative 3 times negative 1 minus 4. Negative 3 times negative 1 gives me 3 minus 4. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Now I can go look at 0. We're going to go look at f of 0. So I'll have negative 3 times 0 minus 4. Negative 3 times 0 equals 0 minus 4 is equal to negative 4. And let's look at f of 3. We're going to have negative 3 times 3 minus 4. This gives me negative 3 times 3 is negative 9 minus 4. Negative and a minus is going to make my number bigger, so I'm going to end up with negative 13. And for our last one, we're going to look at f of 5. We'll have negative 3 times 5 minus 4. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15 minus 4. That equals negative 19. So the most complicated part about functions is understanding how the function rule and the function notation works. Everything else works really similar to an equation. So don't get tripped up on the notation, just focus on what the math tells you to do. The f of notation just tells me what we're operating with. Good luck.